Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to the Better Man podcast. Today's episode is all about red light therapy. And to have this conversation, I have invited RLT Home founder Arjun to talk about red light therapy. What are the uses? What has it been proven to do? How can you use it? How can you get started? And how do I use it and why? So, red light therapy, also known as low level light therapy or photobiomodulation, is a treatment that uses low level wavelengths of red or near infrared light to stimulate cellular activity and promote healing. It's a non-invasive in therapy that can be used to address various skin and health conditions and is even helpful for improved cognitive function, as well as a variety of men's wellness topics like prostate health, testosterone, pain relief, arthritis relief, frozen shoulder, tons of stuff. And so I have this conversation today because I really wanted to understand what is the effectiveness? How has it been proven to help? What are some stories or some testimonials that you've heard about? What are common myths? How do you get people started? How do you know which red light therapy wavelength you should be using? How far away should you be from it? So these are all questions that should be considered when you're thinking about how to use red light therapy. And even more broadly, if you want to use it, what are some conditions that has been proven to be helpful for? What are some things that it does not help? So we get into all of this and more. And hopefully this is a really enlightening episode for you. If you're interested at all in red light therapy, I think this will be a great one. And if you don't know what it is yet and you just kind of want to learn about something new, red light therapy is getting really popular now. It's been proven to help with a ton of different things. It basically helps with helping your body regenerate and heal more quickly. In many ways, it is an anti-aging device. So listen to the episode, listen to all the great things that Arjun has to say, and hopefully you get something out of it. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to the Better Man podcast. Today's episode features Arjun, aka AJ, from Red Light Therapy Home. And today we're going to be talking about red light. So, Arjun, thanks for being here.
Oh, yeah, you're very welcome, and it's my pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So, here's the backstory. So, Red Light Therapy Home actually didn't reach out to me. I reached out to them. So, I've been really intrigued about red light therapy for many months, probably years at this point. I actually had a red light therapy unit back in 2016, back when it was pretty early and not a lot of people were using it. So, about a month ago, I went looking for a red light therapy unit for myself. And so I looked across, reviews across all websites. I looked on Amazon. I looked at all the big brands. I looked at my friends in the fitness industry and which brands they were using. And ultimately, I found this brand called Red Light Therapy Home, which I had not heard of before, but they had consistently the best reviews across all the other red light therapy websites. So there were probably more reviews on other websites, but there were also a lot of negative reviews about those companies. And RLT Home had the most consistently high ranked reviews. So I ended up going onto the website. I bought a unit myself at full price, and then I reached out to who I now know, Arjun, uh, later on, and we've been talking since then. But that's the backstory. That's how I got introduced to RLT Home and Arjun, and it's been really cool getting to learn about red light therapy, and also getting personalized recommendations on how to use the unit, which is actually something that they do for all of their customers, which is really cool. So yeah, let's start this conversation off. What are people using red light therapy for? What are some of the goals that they're using it for? What are some conditions that they're using to treat? What are people interested in this for?
Sure. So, red light therapy does solve hundreds of things out there, right? But the primary reasons why people buy these machines are one, for anti aging and skin. So, people above the age of 40 start to get these fine lines and wrinkles. And red light therapy is amazing at producing collagen in the facial area. So, these fine lines and wrinkles sort of tend to go away. The skin looks plumper. And you start to see that little youthful glow back again. So
Mm,
that's one of the reasons. The second, again, a major reason is pain. Red light
Mhm.
therapy, particularly some near infrared wavelengths, are very good at healing pain. So people with autoimmune conditions or people with chronic pain, they find instant pain relief with red light therapy. So that and pain sort of couples with inflammation. So you could have like a joint that's not working very well because it's inflamed. Red light therapy does
Mhm.
very well with those as well. The third, so
Okay.
that's the bigger category, pain and inflammation. The third big category is weight loss and athletic management, athletic performance. Now, red light therapy has this miraculous thing where it can go into the the lipids of a cell, which are blocked as fats, and it can create a little pore in the cell to get the lipid out through your urine, and it's able to break fat very amazingly, which is sort of a miracle in my opinion. And also, it enables better metabolic activity in the body, which means your body consumes the fat better, or burns the fat quicker. So weight management is that side, and then athletic recovery is part of the same thing. So when your body has better metabolic activity, you tend to recover from athletic activity quicker, and you have lesser inflammation, so you have more flexibility in the joints, etc. So that's the third big category, the weight loss and athletic. The fourth category would be brain, so cognitive health. You're talking about, how a lot of people got this brain fog after getting 2 or 3 doses of the COVID vaccine. People have been reporting not being able to think as clearly, not being able to being quick enough to get the thought that they needed. So red light therapy, particularly one wavelength in red light therapy, is brilliant for transcranial healing, which means going inside the skull, creating better neural activity between the cells of the brain. So that is a great thing with red light therapy. Not only does it bring mental clarity, it's also a great sort of protection against a future age-related brain condition like a dementia, Alzheimer's, or a Parkinson. So it's a good thing to start early.
Mhm.
And the fifth would be sleep. So a lot of people have problems with sleep, and because red light therapy can balance the circadian rhythm better, it allows people to sleep better, longer, wake up less number of times in the night, providing more energy for the remaining, the next day and things like that. So these are broader categories on why people use red light therapy, but I'm happy to go
Mhm.
into any one deeper if you like.
Yeah. So, I mean, those all sound great. So it sounds like so to me it sounds like something that can be both an overall boost to health, but also it can help with specific conditions as well. And so that kind of leads me into my next question that, so I remember when I first started doing red light therapy and I remember, using the first unit back in, 2016. And at that time, the only thing that was available was like this foot 12 by 12 square, right? And I knew nothing about it. There was also not a lot of it wasn't advanced as it is today. Now, I from my basic conversations with you, I understand that there are different wavelengths of red light and that different wavelengths help with different things. And that in order for it to be effective, there are also different amounts of times you're supposed to use it. So for something, you might use it for just 8 minutes, but another thing would be 15 minutes or 20 minutes. And back when I first started red light therapy, there was just one wavelength. You just turned it on and you put it next to whatever you wanted to fix. Like if you have foot pain, put it on your foot. If you want your head to be better, put it on your foot. If you want to strengthen your eyes, just look straight at it. And now, that's kind of questionable. But the big
Mm.
question for me back then and now is how do we know that this thing actually works? So, what are some of the key scientific studies that actually back the effectiveness of red light therapy?
So there was a Hungarian scientist called Endre Mister or Mester. Don't know how to pronounce it in Hungarian, but what this guy was doing some studies on healing skin cancer on mice, and he was using a red laser to do that. And to his surprise, he found that instead of causing damage, the red laser actually healed the wound faster. So that was like in 1960s. Then in 1990s, NASA came out with their first ever red light therapy iteration, where in space it helped them grow plants and fix astronauts' wounds quicker. That's when really it all started. And then when that happened, obviously there were tens of thousands of clinical trials around the world figuring out exactly what it is in the red light that's helping and what isn't. Because if you look at the sunlight, and a lot of sunlight today, by the way, if you look at the sunlight, you know, one would think that just standing in the sun on a mild sunny day should fix that, but that's not the case. And that's what the studies found. So now
Hmm.
over 17,000 clinical trials on humans, animals, and in vitro, which is in test tubes, have found that not every wavelength is created the same. There are certain wavelengths in the light that we see that do some things and others do different things. For example, the red light wavelengths, I see this beautiful red light behind you.
Yes,
These
I
red
have
light
mine on
wavelengths
right
are
now.
great for. Oh, are you doing it right now?
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Oh, nice. So these red light wavelengths are great for collagen and, like the top of the dermal layer conditions. So it's collagen, reducing fine lines and just making the skin look better. The near infrared rays, which are the 810 to 850 nanometers, they are known to penetrate deeper. And when they penetrate deeper, they do something called mitochondrial activation, which creates something called adenotriphosphate, which is the energy currency of our body. And what that, sorry, going a bit technical, but it's just the one thing.
Hmm.
What it does is there's a protein in our body, in every cell. It's called the cytochrome C oxidase, which is the real enzyme that we need to function properly. And that gets bound by something called a nitric oxide molecule. So that needs to be detached. The moment it's detached, it starts to function optimally. And when we grow older, or when we have a stress joint or something, the the CCO enzyme starts to not function. That's what red light therapy does. So when the red light therapy penetrates that depth, and that is why the wavelength is important, because different wavelengths penetrate different depths. So you have to understand which wavelength can penetrate that depth and then create the decoupling of the CCO with the nitric oxide. This took what now you're talking about 25 years or 35 years it took for people to study this, different clinicians around the world, to say that not every wavelength is built the same. Here are the most effective wavelengths that should be used on a human body. So that's how, if I make any sense, that's how sort of the study involved, and that's how we found which wavelengths are the best.
Okay. So so I can understand that. So from there, what are these studies that say that hey, this thing works, or hey, this thing actually leads to results with these certain conditions? What has it been studied for?
It's been studied for over 500 conditions, Dean. Like
Wow.
starting from autoimmune conditions, chronic joint pain, every kind of pain in the human body, heart functioning, brain, prostate. I mean, particularly in men, um, you're talking about testosterone, libido, sperm count, erectile dysfunction, prostate. Practically everything that you can think of, and incredible like thousands of orthodontal studies to do with gums and the mouth, a lot of them to do with hair growth, alopecia. So
Hmm.
practically just everything has been studied. And it's continuing as they identify more wavelengths. For example, here is a good example. About 10 years ago, there was not much information about the 1064 nanometer. And then some scientists identified that and they found that that's the only wavelength that can penetrate the skull and do transcranial healing. So now a lot of that is being done. And I think as we go forward 10, 20, 30 years, there'll be a lot more clarity in what red light therapy can do. But for now, we know a lot. We know a lot more than what we did when you first bought your device in 2016. So
Yeah.
and what's wonderful, if you allow me to just elaborate on that a little bit, what's really wonderful is imagine the electromagnetic spectrum is this much, right? Let's say out of that you have your um, microwaves and you have your radio waves and then you have infrared, and then there's this little tiny speck in the electromagnetic spectrum, what we can see from violet to red, right? A tiny bit. And then beyond that there is so much more. There is ultraviolet, and then you have X rays and gamma rays and all of that. And right now, we've humans are still sort of understanding what the use cases might be, right? Uh, 200 years ago, there was no radio. So radio waves were discovered, and then now gamma rays are being used to treat cancer. And it's just an evolving field. And for now, we know that even within the spectrum that we care about, which is from ultraviolet to infrared, there are some wavelengths that do not decouple the CCO with the nitric oxide. For example, the 750 and 950 nanometers, they don't decouple it. So there's no point in having those wavelengths in a device. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's all a study about finding the right wavelengths. And there is a sheet that I can share with you if somebody wants to delve much deeper in it, which contains the 2,650 odd studies that are done on humans. And depending on what condition you're looking to treat, you can search on that sheet and find what the research says. I can share that with you.
Yeah, that'd be great. I can put that in the show notes if people want to look at that. Um, so, what are some of the stories that you've heard about that red light therapy has helped with specifically?
So let's start with myself. There were three conditions that I've had from a long time. One is my prostate is not the best. So after 3 pints of beer, I'll be more in the washroom than at the bar counter. That has
Hmm.
been a problem with me since I was early 30s, and I don't think it's age related. I don't know what it is. The second
Hmm.
was migraines. I've always had this chronic migraine since the age of about 13 to 15. And the third is my back. So during a bodybuilding session, I sort of hurt my back a little bit. And since I've been doing red light therapy with this new 7 wavelength device that we have, I've forgotten about my back pain. I don't wake up at nights anymore. I can last much longer with with those pints of beer. And my
Mm.
migraine hasn't happened in the last 9 months now. And you could
Wow.
say that this is all by chance, but maybe it isn't. Maybe it is the red light therapy that is really helping me. And plus, so we started selling these devices and we've sold thousands of them. And we wrote an email one day saying, well, if red light therapy has made a significant positive impact in your life, would you be okay to do a video testimonial for us? It'll help a lot of people.
Hmm.
And the next day, we got about 11 video testimonials from customers and just very kind people. Um, and they reported different things. For example, older people reported improvements in their arthritis. Somebody reported a 20-year-old frozen shoulder, which they had obtained because of a surfing injury. Now they can move their arm right up, and that's on the homepage of the website. Somebody
Wow.
reported better sperm count. Somebody reported like a variety of things. It's mostly women, but I'm just focusing on the men's side here. So it was to do with, oh, by the way, one gentleman who has a chronic autoimmune condition that affects the entire body. They bought one of our older devices, Generation 1, which they have upgraded with the Generation 2. And they say that the 7 wavelength spectrum is way better. In short, he wrote, it's awesome. And
Mm.
some people don't want to come on the video, but we have a lot of written reviews on on our website and on Trustpilot to do with multiple things.
So that's
Maybe
all
you want to
really encouraging, and I remember from some of our conversations before. There's actually, I think the, I think the potential, the wrong way of thinking about it is that it fixes everything, and that you just need to shine a light on it in order to fix everything. So, what are some things that this has been proven to not be effective for? Maybe there's some myths about red light therapy that kind of over exaggerate what it does. I know one thing that I've heard is that it also has to be done consistently a lot. Like I've got friends who, or I've heard about people within our community who, they have skin conditions, and they're like, yeah, it's helping, but I had to do it for 2 months, 3 times a week, in order to notice results. It's not like you just like, oh, I have a broken foot, so 15 minutes with the red light therapy and my bone was fixed. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
what are some of those
yeah.
things?
No, absolutely right. So red light therapy, our bodies are self-healing machines, right? I mean, whenever something goes wrong in the body is quite capable of healing itself in many of the cases. Now, but there are some times when the stress is too much for the body to handle. That's and that's number one. And number two is as we age, a lot of the body's functioning deteriorates with age. These are the two primary places where red light therapy works. So if you expect red light therapy to be a miraculous sort of thing that's going to heal something that I've never really had, or my body has never really been able to heal on its own, that there's a chance that red light therapy may be ineffective. And a couple of examples of that are if you have hair loss and if you have hair follicles that have completely died, then red light therapy will not bring them back. But if you start early on enough, when the hair follicles are starting to experience that stress and the mitochondrial activation is dying down, and you start your red light therapy, then there's a chance that the hair follicles that were supposed to die will not die and will continue to function. That's one. Number two, think of your youthfulness when you were younger. The kind of energy and the kind of body healing that you experienced at that time is what you can expect from red light therapy. But that is not for everything. For example, in some things, it's actually a very varied answer. But for some things, red light therapy does overdo what your youthful body could do. For example, in fat burning, red light therapy excels. And the reason for that is that in normal day to day, and I think we have to go to the background of our existence for to answer this one. And the answer is we are, humans have evolved after millions of years, of being in the open, in the sunlight. We were initially cavemen,
Hmm.
and as primitive humans, the light absorption and the kind of light that we got in our bodies was way more than what we get today. In the modern lifestyle, we're all locked up in these rooms working on a computer 24/7, right? And
Yes.
yeah, so so we have to understand that the human body was built for a lot more sunlight than what we get today. And because of that, a lot of things go wrong in the human body, which red light therapy can fix. But there are also a lot of things that red light therapy will not be able to fix without an external surgeon looking at it. For example, two examples. One, I told you about the hair follicles that have died. Red light therapy doesn't bring them back. And number two is knee problems. So if you have a knee problem where the knee doesn't need replacement yet, but you're starting to experience it, then red light therapy is a great thing to do at that time because it's going to fix it and it's going to keep it fixed. But if you've got a knee problem that's beyond repair, then the only real thing you can do is get a knee replacement, right? Or get some assistance with red light therapy and start to walk again. But it will not bring your knees back entirely, if that
Mm,
makes sense.
okay.
So,
So
and
it
then,
can't bring things back to life, but it can help with things that are still regenerating enough. So it can boost the
yeah,
regeneration process, but it can't bring something that has gone past that point back.
yeah, exactly. That's the
Okay.
correct way to say it. For example, even with dementia and Alzheimer's, once you've reached a certain age, and let's say you've had dementia, at that point of time, red light therapy will help you keep it there, but it won't bring it it won't reverse the dementia. And that is why red light therapy is sort of technology that needs to be used after the age of 40 or 50 to
Mm,
sort of build that endurance in your body for things not to happen in the future, more than repairing them when they happen.
got it. Should we start? So it's much more of a proactive, um, best results when proactive, as opposed to,
Yeah.
okay, it's really bad. Maybe red light therapy will save my whatever. Okay, so
Hmm.
proactive. So that makes sense. So I kind of want to steer this next question toward my own personal experience and why I thought red light therapy would work well for me. So, you can, if you're watching the video version of this interview, then you can kind of see my office behind me. This is my studio. This is where I film. This is where I also spend a lot of my day to day. And it is basically this particular one is a windowless room, which I did not realize when I started the lease, how much I would not like having a windowless room. Um, but it is very quiet, helps me get a lot of work done, which is great. So I'm very productive here. And just because of the way that this is set up, and because I don't work with that many other people in my day to day, it's a very easy thing for me to do to have a red light therapy unit here, right? So my thought was, oh, cool, all these people are doing red light therapy, and while it might not make sense for somebody maybe for somebody it sounds like it's going to be difficult for them to get in a 15-minute red light therapy session at home. All the videos that I see with red light therapy, they're standing at home in their beach house in Malibu, like looking out over the ocean while looking out the window, having red light shine on them. And not everyone's going to have that setup or that freedom. But for me, for my particular way that I have my life, it's very easy for me to say, okay, cool. Well, I'm at my desk. No one cares what I wear. So let me just put a light where it needs to be and turn it on. Right. Or if honestly, like what I've started doing, you and I have talked about this, but one of the other things that I'm doing is, hey, oh, red light therapy works for testosterone too. Cool. So I literally just stand here in the nude with the red light therapy unit just shined on me. And I'm still on the computer. I'm still just doing work, but I'm just standing here doing that. And that's, so it works for me in a way that is very, it just works in my life. So that's one reason why I really wanted to do it. But I didn't really know how I was supposed to get started, right? Or how do I use it? So I just turn it on and I just try to do it as much as possible. And so that's where I, got to talk with you and you got to teach me about all this stuff. But what I think is really cool, when you buy a unit from RLT Home, by the way, do you say RLT Home or do you say Red Light Therapy Home? What's your?
Or we say RLT Home.
Okay, cool. So RLT Home. So one thing that's really cool is that you guys send out an email to everyone who purchases a unit, and you ask them, "Hey, what are you working on? Like, what are your goals?" And they tell you, and then you send back a personalized program. Like, I think that's really cool. And so I've been using the personalized program, but for people who are, kind of getting started, what would a red light therapy practice look like? Like, how many minutes per day, and like, where does it need to be shined, and like all that? Like, how do you other practices? Like, hey, I've got these goggles that I'm supposed to wear if I'm looking at it directly, or like when do I need to use goggles, and when do I need to use the sunglasses? Like, so
Yeah,
basic
yeah.
questions on how to use it.
So yeah, absolutely. In the sun's light, I'm just going to add this one context that's going to make things clearer. In the sunlight, when you, even on a sunny day, the problem is that the body's absorption capabilities are limited, right? So when you're lying um, on the seaside on a sunny day, yes, your body's absorbing light, and there is a lot of light to absorb. So there are ultraviolet rays that create vitamin D, and there are multiple wavelengths. But when you take a red light therapy device, for example, and it's shining just those therapeutic wavelengths at a higher density, higher intensity, the body's absorption is better. When the absorption is better, if you compare it 1-to-1 with sunlight, it's much better. But it's so much better that you can't really do it for very elongated periods of time, because the body's going to say, well, thank you very much, I don't need any more of it. So the body has this sort of a roof on how much energy it can absorb. And if you do too much of it, then there's something called resistance that the body builds against the light. That is why we say, well, you have to do it no more than 30 minutes a day, because these lights are very strong. These are 5-watt LED bulbs. Every bulb is producing just the one wavelength in a 30-degree beam angle, quite a narrow cone, coming straight to your body. And when you are using, let's say, the light for your brain for cognitive purposes, then the intensity is way too much for your eyes to handle. That is when you need to put the blockout goggles on. If you're using skincare mode about 3 foot away, then you could have your eyelids closed, because eyelids are a brilliant natural protection in our bodies to protect us from light anyway. So then those are fine. Some people want to read when they're doing red light therapy. For those, we provide the reading goggles that you're talking about, the sunglasses.
Ah, okay.
So, but if you have the light too close to you, particularly in the facial area, then we recommend having the blackout goggles. Um,
So
and
if
yes,
it's
about the personalized.
like a
Yeah,
foot
sorry.
or closer, or 18 inches closer, or what's the exact?
Yeah, yes. Even if it's like a foot and a half, 18
Okay.
inches close to you, but if it's coming directly at your face, because you're, let's say, treating the temples, which you need to do for your brain,
Yeah.
or you're treating the forehead, then the blackout goggles are recommended.
Okay.
That's
So
too much
anytime,
light for.
anytime it's
Yeah.
direct to the eyes, blackout
Yes. Yes.
goggles. Okay.
Mostly. Yes.
Cool. Okay, continue.
But if you are 3 foot away or more, then just closing your eyelids is fine because the energy sort of goes down as you go further away from the device.
Okay, got it. Okay. And then
Mhm.
like I had another question. I was doing the full body and there's different sizes. And so for me, I wanted a big one because I wanted to be able to get as much as possible without
Yeah.
having to rotate around. Honestly, I was even thinking of getting two so I could get both sides at once. But I don't know. Anyways, but I don't think most people are going to get. Maybe they will. I don't know if you can. If efficiency is
Mm.
your thing, then. But I was the unit comes out to about here on me. So I think is it 30? It's 40 inches tall. How tall is that one that I have?
Yeah. I think about 46 inches, I think.
46. Okay, so it's
Maybe
pretty. It comes
40
all
to
the way up to
46.
my yeah.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it comes all the way up to my chest. So it's kind of the red light isn't staring straight at my eyes, but I can see them.
Hmm.
So in that
Yeah.
case, should I have the glasses on, or should I? If it's not staring straight at me, does it matter?
Then what you're getting is a reflective light. So the light that's sort of reflecting from your chest, it's then reflecting from the wall at the back. Then it's coming to your eyes, right? Or maybe a direct reflection from here. Just closing your eyelids is brilliant for those cases.
Okay.
The red light therapy has been studied extensively for the eyes as well. So macular degeneration, vision improvement, dry eyes, calcium buildup in eyes. Like there's a million floaters. You know how people see these dark objects when they look at the sky?
Yeah.
Those are called the floaters. Red light therapy has been studied and proven to help in all of these conditions. So a little bit of light going into your eyes is a good thing.
Okay. Got it. And then
Yeah.
I think I also read somewhere I was going throughout the internet reading about this, and I think it sounds like a good indication of if it's too much is do you want to close your eyes? Right. If you're staring,
Mm.
if it's hitting your eyes in a way that your eyes say, "Oh, that's uncomfortable. I want to close my eyes," then it sounds like that's a good. I don't know. Can you
Yeah.
speak to that?
No, I completely agree with that.
Okay.
If so, there are two or three things that we need to prevent. Number one is obviously the intensity. Intensity is when your eyes can tell you straight away that this is too bright, close your eyes, right? That's
Hmm.
the sort of natural protective response from the body. But there's another thing with red light therapy that the eyes can't see, which is the, so when you switch on your panel on full power mode,
Hmm.
Dean, you
Yeah.
see only 40% of the LEDs that are shining. The
Oh wow.
remaining
Okay.
60% are also working, but they're near infrared. So our human eyes can't see that light.
Okay.
But what that light can do, if overexposed to the eye, that light can build up heat inside the retina, causing cataracts
Mm.
if overdone, right?
Okay.
For smaller 30 an hour session, it's not a bother. But there are some working environments where people are working in near infrared environments for either production or industrial uses, and they've seen to have more cataracts than normal people. That is another reason why blackout goggles are just a good idea if you think that even if your eyes can take that kind of intensity,
Hmm.
but if the device is too close to you, then it's better to put them on.
Got it. Yeah, and I'm really big on efficiency. I just, I'm busy. I've got a lot of stuff to do, and I have two kids. I don't have a lot of time. So the thing that I've started to use the red light therapy sessions where I have to cover my eyes or close my eyes, or like one of the things in my program is just a full body kind of recovery session, I think. And that
Yeah.
for that one, I'm supposed to be 3 feet away. And so that one's 3 feet away. So what I do for that is I kind of lay down on the ground with the RLT home unit 3 feet away, and I'm on a yoga
Yeah.
mat, and then I just kind of roll back and forth, right? So I'm just kind of like
Mm.
taking a little nap, which I find really good
That's
for me,
perfect.
just because
Mm.
I know that I need the rest, I know that I need the recovery, and then the other way that I'll use it if I have to close my eyes or I'm doing it in a way that I can't like do other work is I'll treat it as a meditation session. So I just
Yeah.
close my eyes. I've got the red light therapy on me, and then I'm just okay. Let me use this as a meditation session. So I'm finding ways to work. So you know I'm even though I'm not as productive as I normally would be, I'm being productive in other ways, if that makes sense. And so framing it like that, this becomes something that is much easier for me to do compared to, if you just ask me to like, hey, I just need you to go, go do nothing for 15 minutes, right? And you
Hmm.
can't do anything while you're doing it. So 15 minutes where I'm somewhat doing nothing, but really I'm doing other things that are very important for my health. It tends to
Yeah.
work out well for me. So
It's a great idea to meditate with the red light therapy on, particularly if you have the longer wavelength in it. It brings more focus, mind clarity, and there's a lot of studies with that too. So I'm sure that doing that is, you're right, like that is a 15-minute in a day that you have to give yourself. So why not complement it with red light therapy, which is such an essential thing for our human body?
mm, yeah, now I'm gonna. You guys need to make a. You guys need to make a backpack holder so that I can just like put it in a backpack and carry it around with me. And because right now I keep it at the office because it's, it's not. I'll bring it out and show you, but it's not tiny, right? I mean, this is like a, you know, I don't know how much it weighs. It feels like it's 40 pounds, 35 pounds
Yeah,
maybe. So,
yeah,
it's not something that I can easily transfer back and forth, but it is something that I can use everywhere.
yeah. For you, it's definitely easy. Most people use it standing straight, and it has like a wheeled stand built in,
Oh yeah. No, I've,
which
I've
is
got the wheeled stand.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I've got the wheeled stand, so I use that for if it's straight up in front of me, so that works well. So something else that,
awesome.
and we talked about this, but there's so many different things that the unit can be used for, that RLT home can be used for.
Should we
And
quickly
yeah,
touch on the men side of things?
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I just wanted to like cover this because a lot of your people that you work with are men who are
No,
learning
of
yoga and Ayurveda
course,
yoga,
absolutely.
and for men, this is like literally, well, it's a blessing if you have one of these problems. So in terms, the way the male body works is we produce testosterone, right? The
Hmm.
testosterone gives us the strength and the libido, which is very important part of being a man. And the way that is produced, there's a cell called the Leydig cell that's produced in our testes, right? And that Leydig cell, as we age, and if we have very stressful lifestyles, including physical stress, by the way, then the Leydig cells start to perform suboptimally. And just like I explained the ATP side of things earlier, that works miraculously on the Leydig cell. So the Leydig cell activity goes really high, and the testosterone production becomes higher. And the side effects of that are uh, the erections are amazing, the libido is higher, and the sperm counts become better. And this has
Hmm.
all been studied again extensively. If you Google testosterone and red light therapy, you'll find just an endless stream of data. And I think that is a very important thing. Another thing that affects mostly men, not it does affect women as well, but mostly men, is the prostate that we
Hmm.
talked about.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
think that
we've
is
got a ton of guys with prostate, either have had prostate cancer or who are at risk for it in our community. We talk about that a lot.
Yeah. And also enlarged prostate, right? Where your ability of the bladder to store the urine becomes lesser and lesser over time, and you need to use the washroom more frequently. And that happens primarily because of inflammation in the prostate. So, all of this, men particularly can benefit from. Um, and then hair loss, I already said. If there is there is a male pattern baldness called alopecia, different types of it. Once it has already happened, then it will not bring your hair back. But if you are at that stage where you're thinking maybe I'm losing hair a little bit, then red light therapy is a great thing to add on to your schedule.
Okay. Yeah, I was talking with my neighbor last week, he's been bald for I think 20 years now. So I think he's probably beyond the point that he can be helped,
Yeah,
um, but if you're still in the process of it, looks like that would be a good thing to do. So I
yeah,
was going to so we've covered tons of different things that um, RLT home and red light therapy in general has been studied to be proven effective for, but we can't cover all of those things in this episode. So I did want to touch on, how do you guys come up with plans for people? Because I think that's something that is so helpful. I think, you can buy the equipment, but without instructions on implementation, you don't know what you're supposed to do. So how have you guys gone about creating your protocols for helping with that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So every person has a different need, right, that they're looking to solve in the immediate time. And red light therapy, although is a very large encompassing field, but the protocols are very different for different people. And the 7 wavelengths that are built into the device, some of them are not needed for a few things. For example, if you are trying to heal a deep rooted joint pain in the back, or, um, it could be the back, it could be, the shoulder. The shoulder is also a very difficult to access part because of the light, because this protruding shoulder bone is very difficult to penetrate, so it has to be done from the underarm. But when you're
Mm-hmm.
doing different things with red light therapy, you need to focus on certain wavelengths more than the others. So these pre-built modes that we have, the way we develop these is we put 17,000 photobiomodulation studies in a database, and we trained a large language model, and the one we trained was the OpenAI O3 model, which is the most advanced right now. So we put all these studies in there. Then we said, well, our device has these 7 wavelengths and these percentages of intensity. Based on this data and this device, can you calculate what would be the most ideal spectrum to shine for this particular condition? And the AI required multiple weeks of training, but it became really good at that. So something that a human would have taken weeks and weeks and weeks to process, because there's a lot of data, the
Mm-hmm.
AI was able to do that. And
Wow.
we put all of that data into our pre-built modes. For example, the pain and inflammation mode that you used just a while ago, it
Yeah.
starts off with using the blue light as well, because blue light is brilliant for wound healing. It is antibacterial, so it kills the bacteria and then it starts to go deeper. So these modes are built based on a lot of data, a lot of science, and then using AI to understand what would be the ideal sort of mix. That's how we came up with them. And also, I think in red light therapy in particular, this is the most critical decider whether a company, after selling you the device, will support you,
Mm.
right? And I've been a big fan of Jeff Bezos, the whole customer focus. We revolve around the customer kind of sentiment. And that's what we're building here.
Mm-hmm.
Every customer gets a personalized plan, and they can ask for any modifications, any number of them, any number of in the future. When they're using it, they could ask for plans for their family members, and they can do it unlimited number of times, completely free. And if there are another little aspect to the customer thing, other companies are charging restocking fees and all of that nonsense. We don't do that.
Mm.
For us, it's like, if it doesn't work for you, we're happy to take it back. The most important thing is that it should work for you. That's the main motive of the business, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, and it makes sense to provide support because these are not, this is not like this is not a 25, 50, $100 investment. It's a significant amount of money. I think even and I'm not saying that to say that it's, I'm just saying that because this is not like a $25 thing. This is something that, but ideally, this is
Yeah.
something that you're able to use repeatedly. I mean, if you're comparing it to other things that you do for your health where you have to, maybe it's a physical thing that you have to buy, that you have to replenish every month or every 2 months or every 3 months. This is something that you get once and then you have it
Yeah.
and you can use it forever. And so I did want to cover
Yeah.
one more question, at least one more question. Who knows how many more questions I'll come up with because my brain just keeps going. But you know, again, I did some research and I figured out that RLT Home was the brand that I wanted to purchase with my money. But what can you say about your unit compared to other units that make RLT Home more effective?
Well, yeah, just two major things to consider here. most of the companies, if they are reputable companies, they will provide you with a 3-year warranty. They should provide you with a little span of time, like 2 months, where you can test the device and return it. When you're returning it, make sure that there are no restocking fees, etc. But the two most critical things that you need to figure out are, number one, what wavelengths are present in the device, right? So a lot of companies out there are now saying we have the 7 wavelengths, right? And we were the pioneers in this, but now everybody's come up with sort of this 7 wavelength idea. But the problem with that is that they have 90% concentration on 2 wavelengths. And I think that would be probably similar to the device that you bought. The 660 and the 850 nanometers are about 90% of the overall intensity, and the remaining 5 wavelengths are distributed within the 10%, which means that these wavelengths can't do their job properly. That
Mm,
is one important thing. Second thing is, these devices are very smartly designed to maximize the irradiance. Now, imagine that this is an LED and there's a little narrow beam of light coming out of it versus a 90-degree or a 60-degree light coming out of it, right? If you have a 30-degree beam, you can imagine that if you are like 2 or 3 feet away from the device, you will get most of the light onto your body. So your body's going to cover most of the light that's coming out. Whereas if it's a 90-degree beam angle like that, then if you are more than a foot away, then a lot of light will waste in the periphery, right? A lot lesser light is going to shed onto your body, and a lot of it is going to waste in the periphery.
mhm.
Now, these are things that we have worked very hard on to build. So we have a 30-degree beam angle. A lot of competitors have a 90-degree beam angle for in some cases, which is fine. If you're very close to the device, it's fine. But it doesn't provide you with the flexibility to move around, to do a stretch when you're doing your red light therapy.
Mhm.
The intensity matters a lot. So we've done third-party tests where we are in May, we did one where we're the world leaders in intensity at 1, 2, and 3 feet distances. That's important. Also, I think if you have the time, watch the Mitchell Hooper video. He's the world's strongest man 2023, first runner up 2024, second runner up 2025. He, just like you, he bought a device off us. He did not ask for an affiliate code or anything. Like, he just genuinely bought it, and then he did a video review voluntarily where he compared this one for cognitive purposes with others. So these are some things that you need to research before buying a device. Um, we are a relatively new company, so you'll see a lot more about us thanks to amazing people like you, Dean. But yeah, these are the critical things. The number of wavelengths that you have, they should be in the right percentages. They should
Mhm.
have high irradiance so that they can penetrate deep inside to heal the body. And the beam angle is what sort of makes that happen.
Okay, and I just want to understand this correctly. So, depending on the mode that you select, that means that you are sending out different wavelengths. Whereas some
Correct.
units, you turn it on and there's just the one setting. But with this one, you're actually choosing based on the mode that you select what wavelength is being sent out to make sure that you're using the appropriate wavelength for the condition or the goal that you're treating. And then you guys also provide the plan so we know which one exactly we're supposed to use. Like, for example, for me, I think I think for I can't remember which one off the top of my head, but for the testosterone mode. So when I'm aiming it at my testes, I'm not actually using, there's not like a testosterone mode. I think it's called, um, it's like, which one is
Weight
it?
loss.
It's weight loss. Yeah. So like there's different names,
Yeah.
but you guys will actually tell us which
Mm.
one we're supposed to use, even if the name isn't intuitive to the goal.
Yes. Yes. And yeah, you're absolutely right. For example, this skincare mode doesn't have any 1064 nanometers. It's 0%. And the reason for that, I just explained, right? That too much far infrared in the eye can build up cataract. So these are very smartly designed. Again, if you use the correct mode for the correct thing, the body's response is going to be much better than
Yeah.
using this full power mode for everything.
Yeah. And so, I know we said we can't, speak to every condition, but typically, how long does it take to notice some of these results? So, like maybe let's talk about, do you have specific information on how long it helps to take with prostate?
Yeah, about 4 to 6 weeks before you
Four to
start
six weeks.
noticing substantial results. Um, these are the way red light therapy works is condition dependent. For
Hmm.
example, if you are in arthritic pain or some kind of an autoimmune pain, then for the first session that you do, you will feel pain free. The first session. But if you are talking about something that has been uh, sort of the body malfunctioning for a long time, then the mitochondrial activation and then producing the ATP, etc. This process is a slow process. It
Hmm.
takes multiple days for the body to start doing that. And then when the body does that, what the only thing that's happening in the background is that that inflamed or injured body part is getting better oxygenated blood flow. That's the only thing that's happening. And then the body has its own time to heal. For example, when you get a wound, right? The body takes a
Hmm.
long time for the wound to heal. If you have a fracture, the body takes about 3 to 4 months for the fracture to fix. And
Hmm.
and that's you're talking about in a youthful, like in early youth, it takes that long. So the body has its own time. What red light therapy is doing is it's paving the way for the body to be able to self heal by detaching the nitric oxide from the CCO enzyme.
Hmm. Okay. So that just reminded me of another machine. I can't. I'm blanking on the name right now. Is it hyperbaric? Is that? I don't know why I can't remember the name right now. Is a
Is it a
hyper?
sound vibration?
No, it's not a sound vibration. It's like a. I don't know. I'm on the Google right now. I think it's a like a
Okay.
hyperbaric chamber. That is similar to what a yeah. That's what's the so a hyperbaric chamber. That's similar to what a hyperbaric chamber does. Is it helps you to get better oxygenated blood. So
Mm,
it's kind of similar to so it's similar to this. It sounds like at the root that's kind of what it's doing. I
yeah,
don't know. Just
it's possible. I mean,
just saying.
light therapy is one of the main ways to activate the mitochondria, but
Hmm.
some people say that even sound waves do that. So there are these vibration plates that are getting popular now. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, very cool. So that plate vibrates at a certain frequency, and you can change the frequency depending on what you're looking to heal. And that marries very well with the pulsing that our devices have. So the light that's coming to you in a normal pre-built mode is coming to you straight. So there are no interferences. It's like one straight beam of light that's coming to you.
Hmm.
But if you are a believer in Nogia frequencies or in sound vibrations, then our devices allow you to pulse them at different frequencies. And pulsing is done in hertz. A 2 hertz pulse means that the light will break twice in a second. So it'll be like two beams of light in a second. If
Okay.
it's a 100-degree pulse, it means that the light will break 100 times and it's going to come at these pulses, right? And these pulses can be aligned with the Nogia frequencies or the sound vibration plates, and they all work together.
Hmm.
So this is a thing that we give in our devices for advanced users. Most people don't need them, but it's there if somebody's
Yeah.
interested.
All right. We are going into the biohacking world. This is
Yeah, yeah. Sorry for getting
this
too
is no,
technical.
that's good. No, it's cool. So yeah. Well, I want to thank you for coming on and talking about it. And for you guys who are, intrigued about this, this is the brand that I recommend. Do your research, figure out if this is the one that you want. But if you want to try this out, and again, I've mentioned this, but we've had a lot of conversations about this in the Manful Yoga community and our private members only Facebook group. I've talked to a lot of those people individually and just kind of followed up and said like, hey, like, what are you using this for? Like, has it worked for you? How long does it take? And so yeah, if you're intrigued about this stuff, I encourage you to go check out RLT Home and get a unit, get your personalized plan. But if not, hopefully this is maybe something that stays on your radar, or just learn about something cool that can help in the overall health equation. And that's how I really think this is. Like, I think this is just, when you're looking at healthy lifestyle and getting the results of a healthy lifestyle, you obviously need to have the basics. You need to have good sleep, you need to have good nutrition, you need to be exercising, you should be taking care of yourself mentally. But practices like these, they help with all of that stuff. So it's just a complement. It's a supplement to kind of add into your tool pack of things. And just for me, the way that I've been able to use it and kind of integrate it into my life in a way where I can use it as a simultaneous stress relief, meditation opportunity, or just putting it in front of my computer while I work. It's something that I'm looking forward to continuing. So, anyways, thanks again, Arjun, for coming on. Anything else you want to share?
No, thank you for having me. And I do understand that before people want to buy, everybody's different. And if we make 1,000 sales, these are 1,000 different requirements. So if that is the case, then our website has a live chat and we have some very qualified agents over there. Feel free to come over, ask your question, get clarity, and then order. And if you want one of our agents to compare a certain aspect of our brand with another, feel free to share that too.
Okay, awesome. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Whether you're interested in red light or not, or if it's just a an educational. Oh, that sounds kind of cool. Hopefully, you got something out of this. Once again, thanks to Arjun and RLT Home for joining me and sharing all of his expertise on this. Yeah, I hope this guys. I hope this inspires you to be a better man, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. So, thanks again, Arjun.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you for having me. Take care.
All right, bye, guys. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed learning about red light therapy. It is something that I have been doing on a nearly daily basis now. Whenever I'm in the office, I have my unit here and I use it. So it was cool to be able to understand the science behind this, understand how it works, and just kind of inspire me to keep at it. So if you want to keep doing this, if you want to learn more about it, again, RLT Home is where I'd recommend. They've got a lot of resources there to help you learn more. They have a live chat, as Arjun mentioned. Um, and they also provide plans for you if you purchase a unit, which is pretty cool. So I put the link for that in the description below. If you are enjoying this podcast, I would also encourage you to leave a review for it. You can do that on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to get started with Manflow Yoga and you haven't already, go to manflowyoga.com to learn more. If you're already part of our community here, I want to say thank you for being part of the Manflow Yoga community. It's great having you guys here. And yeah, thanks for being vulnerable and sharing with. I'm just going to do a different outro. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, for me, I was really excited to do it because I have been just getting into red light therapy over the last couple of months. It's something that I'm using on a near daily basis. And I think it's something that can help a lot of people, particularly with our community, because a lot of you guys are in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and you guys are all focused on longevity. And this is something that can just help with the overall equation. So check out RLT Home. You've got all the links in the show notes here. If you guys are enjoying this podcast, I encourage you to leave a review. You can do that wherever you listen to podcasts, on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, or wherever. If you're already part of our community, I want to say thank you for being part of Manflow Yoga. If you want to learn more about joining, go to manflowyoga.com to learn more. And that's pretty much what I got for you today. So make sure to come back for more episodes. We talk about not just red light therapy. This is the first episode we've ever done on this. Mostly we talk about men's health and how we can be better men. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope it somehow you got something out of it, even if you're not interested in red light therapy. But yeah, hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you for being here. I hope this inspires you to be a better man.